I wrote this poem today whilst trying to work out who to vote for tomorrow, and I still haven't decided. But what I have decided is that I'm never going to vote for people in power who try to convince me over and over again to blame all of my problems or all the problems of a country or a nation on people with much, much less power than they have. And leaders of every country in the world for centuries and centuries have been doing this, trying to convince us that they are better and that our problems are caused by people with a lot less power. They've been doing it for centuries, and I was thinking about the UK especially, and how not so long ago we were convinced by people in power that God ordained the kings and queens, and the divine right of kings and queens, and we believed that, God would have chosen Charles to sit on the throne and lead us all and own land and all these different things that people in power have tried to convince us of and are still fucking doing all the time, and especially in the lead up to elections, just pointing fingers and pointing blame to try to convince you to hate, because hate is so much easier to incite than actually sharing wealth and rights. And so I don't know who to vote for. I know the sort of, either vote against who you don't want to be in, or vote if it doesn't match for the party that you want, but without proportional representation. Does that make a difference? Blah, 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 all of that. So yeah, I'm thinking one thing I know is that I am going to vote tomorrow, because people have worked their fucking asses off to allow me to vote. And a lot of people in power have been against it and tried to fight against that for centuries and centuries. Anyway, I wrote this poem because I often try to work out what I think about things by writing about it, and it's called All the Things We Have Believed. And I was looking up all the different things that, first of all, like royalty and leaders and politicians have tried to convince us of in order to stay in power and in order to blame often like the poorest and most vulnerable in a country. All the things we have believed. It seems quite foolish now, but once upon a time, those in power told us that a crown, glittering and gold, was forged by God, or at least willed by a god, and that they, families with wealth and weapons, were the chosen ones, here for higher reasons, better. Their gods never seemed to choose the head of a peasant to place the golden crown upon, always spoke to them alone. Another wealthy family, wealth passed down, apparently ordained, apparently God Almighty's will for them to wear those golden glittering jewels and rule. And now it seems quite foolish. God and Charles in holy chat, Prince Andrew and the angels side by side. But we believed that for a while, or at least were silenced if we questioned it. And once upon a time, those in power told us bigger human heads carrying larger human brains meant more intelligence, and that humans with smaller skulls, or humans without testicles, or humans without property, or humans without gold enough, or humans who couldn't read or write the laws they wrote in languages they would not let us learn to read or write, were less capable of wearing big and heavy crowns, of thinking, of voting, of making political decisions. And we believed it for a while, or at least were silenced if we questioned it. And now, 1,000 battles later, so many peasants dead, just so we may all vote and all have rights to homes and health, and all write and all read the laws and rules they forged before, still they are convincing us that they are not the problem, pointing frantically once again away from wealth and weapons at mothers raising kids alone, or teenagers in hooded tops, or two men dancing tango, or nurses wanting better pay, or people stealing tampons because they can't afford to stop the blood, or love in a different style to yours, or skin a different shade to yours, or people speaking languages you cannot understand, or people moving countries, or people putting families and friends in tiny beaten boats to battle storms they did not create and cannot face alone in the hope someone will help. Look at them, they shout. Look at them, look at them, look at them. Their bank accounts still spilling billions, hate so easy to incite, history still winking back, propping up and passing on their gold and glittering hats for as long as they are able to convince us.